Arachnophobes beware this week as we find ourselves caught in the web of the eight-legged Predacon whose evil science will make your flesh crawl. These are the basics on Tarantulas. The original Tarantulas toy was released in the first wave of 1996's Beast Wars toy line. He was one of the evil Predacons and transformed into an organic spider, complete with a missile launcher that fired a string of spider web. Prototype images and the first commercial for the toy line show that he was originally intended to be orange in colour, but the finished figure was changed to purple. The profile included with the toy described Tarantulas as an unstoppable ninja warrior. But the Beast Wars animated series chose to take a different approach to the character, instead casting him in the role of a mad scientist, a sadistic, cackling lunatic responsible for inventing wicked weapons for the Predacons to use against their enemies, the Maximals. Though Tarantulas took even more pleasure capturing them in his web and devouring them alive. In the cartoon, the Predacons were the descendants of the Decepticons from centuries in the future, and Tarantulas was part of a small gang of renegades led by Megatron, who travelled back in time to plunder prehistoric Earth. But the cunning, duplicitous spider had his own mysterious objectives on the planet, and quickly set up a secret lair from which he began plotting behind Megatron's back. Tarantulas was often joined in his schemes by fellow spider Black Arachnia, but the two mutually despised one another, so their alliances usually ended in betrayal and failure. His greatest contempt, though, was for the Vok, mysterious aliens who repeatedly intervened in the Predacons and Maximals' conflict on Earth, and he made it his mission to destroy them and use their power for his own ends. In 1998, a second toy of Tarantulas was released in the new Transmetals range, which gave him the ability to transform into a third motorcycle-like transport mode. Tarantulas adopted this form in the second season of the cartoon, when his body was mutated by a quantum surge of Vok energy. As a transmetal, his scheming grew bigger and bolder, culminating in the revelation that he was actually an undercover agent of the Predacon secret police, planted on Megatron's team by the Predacon rulers, the Tri-Predacus Council. In truth, Tarantulas and the Council weren't descended from the Decepticons like the other Predacons, but came from unknown origins, and his ultimate goal on prehistoric Earth was to alter history, to wipe out Maximals and Predacons alike, leaving him and the Council to rule Cybertron and conquer the universe.
You're insane.
So they say.
However, Tarantulas didn't live to realize this ambition, when his newest attempt to harness the power of the Vok resulted in two of the aliens trying to possess his body. Tarantulas' panicked flailing caused an explosion in his lab that blew him to bits. Now, the cartoon didn't reveal what Tarantulas' mysterious origins were, because series writers Bob Forward and Larry DiTillio had never actually settled on an answer, though DiTillio had floated the idea that he was descended from the breakaway second generation of Decepticons seen in 1993's Generation 2 comic book. However, in the episode following Tarantulas' death, Megatron referred to the spider as Unicron's spawn. This line, invoking the name of the evil god famously introduced in 1986's The Transformers the Movie, was intended to just be a generic insult, but many fans took it literally, thinking it meant that Tarantulas was a creation of Unicrons. This fan theory influenced Tarantulas' depiction in several pieces of later media, most notably the various comics published in the early 2000s by official convention BotCon. These comics continued Tarantulas' story after the end of the cartoon, revealing that he had survived his apparent death by absorbing the power of the Vok who had tried to possess him, and depicted him as a servant of Unicron, aiding his master in his eternal war with the god of light, Primus. Tarantulas' appearance in these comics was based on a black and grey recolor of his Transmetal toy, released in 1999 as part of a small line of recolored Beast Wars figures produced to promote reruns of the cartoon on Fox Kids. BotCon and its online collectors club would feature Tarantulas in several other stories over the years, some set in the world of the cartoon, others in brand new continuities. They also produced new toys representing Tarantulas before he had come to Earth and adopted his beast mode. One in 2015, a retool of Autobot motorcycle Wreck-Gar from 2011's Reveal the Shield, and another in 2016, a retool of Autobot armoured reconnaissance vehicle Rook from 2015's Combiner Wars, sold in a box set with new toys of the Tripredacus Council and their other agent Ravage, with whom Tarantulas could combine into the giant robot Predacon. Outside BotCon, Tarantulas enjoyed one of his most significant 21st century roles in IDW Publishing's 2015 comic book, Sins of the Wreckers, which heavily reimagined the character and his story for IDW's universe. IDW's Tarantulas began life as Mesethulus, an unethical scientist who considered all of Cybertronian society nothing more than a giant specimen for him to experiment on. When he was recruited by the Autobot Prowl to develop weapons and technology for him, their partnership inspired Mesethulus to new creative heights. He even mastered life itself, creating an artificial Cybertronian named Osteros in his lab. But the cruelty and amorality of his inventions horrified Prowl, who brought an end to his terrible work by imprisoning him in a pocket dimension. Centuries later, Mesethulus escaped to resume his work, creating new innovations that included organic alternate mode technology, which led to him taking on a spider form and renaming himself Tarantulas. He developed a twisted obsession with his former partner Prowl. Despite his betrayal, Tarantulas longed to recapture the creativity that Prowl inspired in him, and abducted the Autobot to try and force him into working with him again. He was foiled by the Autobot commando unit, the Wreckers, but in the process discovered that the team's leader, Springer, was his own estranged creation, Osteros. In the 2018 sequel, Requiem of the Wreckers, yearning to fill the void left by the loss of Prowl and Springer, Tarantulas allied with the Decepticon Overlord. But Overlord only wanted access to Tarantulas' technology, and when the spider outlived his usefulness, Overlord fatally shot him. Tarantulas died with Springer at his side, with his last breaths mourning the relationship he and his creation had never been able to have. After a few other scattered appearances in the 2010s, Tarantulas and the Beast Wars cast returned to the spotlight for the series' 25th anniversary in 2021. This year, IDW launched a new Beast Wars comic, a ground-up reboot of the original cartoon storyline, featuring Tarantulas back in his classic role of scheming scientist plotting to amass power behind Megatron's back. Though in a notable contrast to the cartoon, this series saw Tarantulas ally with the Vok, betraying his fellow Transformers to the aliens for a chance to learn the secrets of the universe. Spinning out of the anniversary, a new toy of Tarantulas based directly on his appearance in the cartoon was released in 2022's Transformers Legacy. Later in this toy line, this figure was retooled and recolored into Tarantulas' prototype orange colours, which according to Hasbro designer Mark Mayer represented one of an army of drones created by Tarantulas in his own image. 2023 marked Tarantulas' return to television in Transformers Earthspark, in which he was voiced by Game of Thrones actor Alfie Allen. Heavily inspired by IDW's portrayal of the character as a tortured bot seeking companionship, Earthspark Tarantulas was a Decepticon, shunned by his own kind, hiding on Earth after the end of the war while he worked on a holographic human avatar that would allow him to begin a new life by secretly, peacefully integrating into the planet's population. When his lair was stumbled upon by Nightshade, one of the Terrans, a new generation of Transformers born on Earth, The pair became friends, and Nightshade used their scientific talents to help perfect Tarantulas' avatar. Touched by their kindness, Tarantulas asked Nightshade to join him in his new life, but Nightshade already had a human family of their own. Mistakenly thinking Nightshade was being held against their will, Tarantulas abducted their human guardians, Dorothy and Alex Malto, and attempted to wipe all memory of the Terran from their minds, forcing Nightshade to battle Tarantulas to save them. Tarantulas realized his error, but not before the fight caught the attention of Earth's anti-transformer task force, Ghost. And so, to make amends, Tarantulas parted ways with Nightshade, ensuring his friend's safety by leading Ghost away into the night. From ninja to scientist, Predacon secret agent to herald of Unicron, twisted genius to tormented soul, this spider has shed his skin to reinvent himself many times over. But whatever form he takes next, he'll always be Tarantulas. And those are the basics on Tarantulas. What's your favourite take on old 8 Eyes? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, click that like button and be sure to subscribe for more Transformers history and lore. Plus, support the series on Patreon to get early, ad-free access to every new episode.